Hi guys, this is Alex. So I'm excited to have for you today this Machorool 13-inch 2-speed planer. Just purchased this off of findbytool.com. Some of you may be unfamiliar with the Machorool brand, so this is really focused on high value woodworking equipment, so more affordable, but still great feature set. There's some things in particular that really drew my interest to this new FB132H. I'm excited to take you through that today. But before I do, let's unbox this and get into it. All right, so we got this out of the box. The first thing that you'll notice is that this is the same basic design as the DW735 from DeWalt, which is really highly regarded option in the benchtop planer space. So that was the first thing that really drew my attention to this model. The second thing I was looking for was a planer that came out of the box with a helical cutter head. So obviously you can do the helical upgrade to the DeWalt 735. That's going to add another, roughly $400 to the price tag, or you can buy them direct from the manufacturer with the helical head pre-installed from Bird, but that's obviously going to run you somewhere around the $1,300 mark. This planer from Find by Tool came in right at $950. So really great price point for the feature set that you're getting on this model. Now, right out of the box, you've got, alongside the planer, you've got this dust extraction arm. You've actually got an adapter and spring here, which is pretty cool for chip bag. So this unit does have a built-in blower for the chips. We'll go ahead and test that out in a little bit. But just another exciting feature to see with this particular model. You've got this T-handle right on top. This is going to allow you to remove the top and do a blade change. You've also got some spare cutter heads that come with this as well, alongside all the T-handles that you would need to do that swap. All right, now let's break down a few of the additional features that this has. So right up front, you can see this depth of cut gauge. So that's going to tell you how much material that you're taking off in a given pass. It also has a good reminder of what the maximum amount of material you want to be taking off on any given pass is. So this is a 13-inch planer. For a 13-inch piece of stock, you really don't want to be exceeding 1/32 of an inch per pass. You've got 2 speeds, 13 feet per minute for finishing, 23 feet per minute for dimensioning. Got a nice LED light here to illuminate what you're working on. And you've also got a circuit breaker here, which is going to trip the circuit breaker and cut power if it finds that it's exceeding the current to the motor. One other thing that's nice on this planer is it's got a built-in in-feed and out-feed. So this is going to help you reduce snipe as you're feeding in stock. Just go ahead, take a level, throw it on there. It looks nice and level there, so that's good to see. Ultimately, I'll probably build in a built-in outfeed for this planer, but it's nice to have out of the box. You can throw it on a cart and you know you're going to be squared away. This planer can handle stock with thicknesses up to 6 inches, and it's got this gauge here so you can fine-tune it in so you know exactly where you're at. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the handles. I already loosened the 4 bolts holding these in with the included T-handle, and then you find here there's 8 more bolts holding the top of the planer on. So really easy, really accessible to get into, and then this just allows you to easily lift the cover off so that you can access the internals of the system. What you'll find here as we look inside is, again, this looks identical to the DeWalt 735.
So it would not surprise me if these were built in the same factory. But the key difference here, as I loosen the 3 bolts on top of the dust shield, this is going to allow me to remove the dust shield and access to the cutter head. So out of the box, this planer comes with a helical style cutter head. One thing you'll notice is that there are just 2 rows of 15 carbide cutters. So this is one of the things I really wanted to test. How would a 2-row helical cutter head ultimately perform on our material that we feed through here? Would we see instances such as scalloping where you can kind of see the texture? But that's really what we'll get into testing as we run this machine. And then the last thing I wanted to show you guys while we're in here is just the chain drive mechanism itself, how it's raising and lowering along those 4 posts. Super smooth action, gives you really nice control of the depth that the planer is ultimately operating in. But let's go ahead and get the cover back on so we can test this. Now I wanted to record how loud this planer was. I'm just using the NIOSH app on my phone, so it's not perfect, but what you'll see here running around a foot of red oak at that 23 feet per minute is that the planer is right around 95 decibels as it's operating. So this didn't feel too loud. I'm in a tight neighborhood. I don't want to be running equipment that's extremely loud, but you can see here I'm not wearing ear protection. Not something I would recommend, but I did want to get a sense for how loud it was, and I was pleasantly surprised with how quiet actually the operation really was. And you can compare that to the DeWalt 735, which can get north of 105 decibels. So this is 12 inches of red oak that we just ran through, and the finish where the cutter was actually engaged is just excellent. You see some areas here that were already on the board that we haven't gotten quite down to yet. But the finish itself, even on the dimensioning speed, is just excellent. I see no evidence of really any scalloping, which was one of the things that I was worried about with just the 2 rows of cutters. But the finish is great. Maybe a tiny bit of evidence of snipe there when we fed it in and out. But other than that, just great results. No real tear out. So just really happy with what I've seen on this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and speed the video up so we can run at the finish setting, which is 13 feet per minute, which ultimately yields 128 cuts per inch, just so we can see what the results look like at that setting. All right, so this is about 12 inches of red oak that I just ran through on the finish setting. And I mean, these results are pretty incredible. One of the things I was worried about with just the 2 rows of cutters was whether you'd get any scalloping on the finish, but really, I mean, this is finish ready. This is silky smooth. I don't see any scalloping, no real evidence of snipe. So really happy with the results that I got on this red oak. You see some marring here where it hasn't cut all the way down. That was already on the wood. But just superb results. No tear out that I can see. So I'm quite happy with this.
All right, guys, so closing thoughts on the Machorool FB132H. Overall, I'm really happy with the results of this system. The finish that I got on the boards that we ran through it was excellent. And then when you consider the overall value of the unit, this system shipped for $950, tax included, shipping included. And with that, you have this really robust 4-post design. You've got the built-in helical cutter head. And then even something like the built-in blower with the chip bag means you can get away with running this without a dust extractor. So overall, super happy with the results. If you're a DIYer, hobbyist woodworker looking for an excellent piece of equipment that's not going to break the bank, I think this system is a great one worth your consideration.
If you found this review helpful, I'd appreciate it if you could give it a like. If you got questions, leave them down in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thank you.